Stephen.
Andrew, how are we doing?
Yeah, good. Will, how's it going?
Good, how are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Not too bad, Will.
Sorry about that. You've just come from training, haven't you?
Yeah, no, that's on me. Like, I was kind of rushing around, but it was supposed to be shorter than it was, but it is what it is, you know? You know how it goes.
True. How's it going out in New Mexico?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's been a good, good preseason start, like, good, tough trainings, and, like, the squad's looking really good, and, yeah, no, everything's going really well. Like, everyone's getting along, and I think we all have a really clear goal, so it's been a pretty good preseason so far.
Yeah, should be a good season.
Looking at the weather behind you, Will, I'm sure you're glad it's not Ballybouffet you're in anymore.
Yeah, I've had more sun this last month than I had two years in Ireland, so I'm not complaining about it, so it's not too bad.
Very good.
Yeah, we'll get started, boys. First of all, Will, thank you very much for joining us. For those viewers that haven't who didn't watch the last one, these live sessions are designed to give aspiring student athletes the chance to get first-hand stories from the likes of yourself and other guests on the American scholarship route, which is absolutely vital. So first of all, I'm Andrew. I'm the digital media manager at SMUSA Scholarships. Bottom left, we have Stephen Murray, director at SMUSA, and we have Will Seymore, former Oregon State student athlete and current New Mexico United midfielder. So first of all, Will, do you want to tell our viewers just a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what you want to know. I was born in America, grew up in England, like went through the academy system in England, kind of applied my trade like football wise like over in England, and then kind of went to college in the States for soccer, and yeah, went to the draft, and I've been playing professionally between America and Ireland and back to America again. So yeah, kind of been all over the place. Had to travel a lot. Like my mom's from England, dad's from America, so it's been kind of back and forth. I've got both cultures in me and stuff, but yeah, it's the summer, I guess, like soccer wise. So
How did you find the academy route in England?
yeah, I mean, like I think anyone who's been in it or who takes football seriously, like it's tough, like it's brutal, but I definitely learned a lot of stuff, like for myself and football wise, like the lessons that you learn in the academy, and kind of the harsh realities and the harsh lessons you learn of kind of getting cut from academies and getting picked up and driving everywhere and stuff like that. But no, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I enjoy football, and I've had a lot of bad experiences with football, but like all the best experiences have been through football. So they're all learning moments and stuff. So yeah, the English system is different than the American one, but I enjoyed it all the same kind of thing.
You mentioned the ruthless nature. You see the amount of boys that get cut from academies, whether it's from Premier League clubs right the way through to League Two or even non-league academies. Do you think as many people are switched on to other routes as what they should be?
I can only speak from personal experience. The guys that I knew and played and kind of grew up with, and myself, obviously, I think it is an easy way to fall into, like as a player, if you do get into an academy or something like that where it is serious, and you potentially have a future in it, it is hard to kind of look outside the scope of soccer, and you are all involved in soccer, and that's fair, because you're trying everything you can to be a professional and to kind of make it as but also I think it is easy to get lost with just probability wise and numbers wise, injuries, circumstances, politics, whatever it is. Like, not everybody's going to make it, you know what I mean? So I think it is a hard kind of thing to learn when you're younger, that you do need, you're not defined just by your soccer career. Like you have more talents in soccer. And I think for me, like, I wasn't the best in school, so like when I left the academy, like my grades weren't good enough to get in University of England. I didn't really have a route. Kind of I was kind of looking at trade jobs or just kind of working. I wouldn't say a dead end job, but like just a job that there really was nothing to it. And yeah, so for me, like I was kind of lucky that I kind of went the route for the American scholarship, because really, like, I didn't really have anything else other than working a job kind of thing. So
At what point did you think the scholarship route would be for you? Was it before your release from the academy, or was it after?
yeah, not like I didn't think about it whatsoever. And it's funny because people always think, like, because I'm American, like that I knew about it. Like, I had no idea about how college soccer worked or scholarship, because when I lived in America, I was young. I was too young to I hadn't even gone to high school yet and stuff. So yeah, no, I hadn't given any thought really. Like, and it only was until I got released from the academy, and like I kind of was just playing like non-league, and I had one of my best friends. He actually went, I think, the year before, a year and a half before, and he went to like a scholarship program, and he was playing like D2 at Fort Lewis, and he had a full scholarship. He was still playing football, and I was like, man, like, I don't want to not play football. Like, I still want to pursue my professional dream, but he was saying like, yeah, I'm getting my degree and stuff like this. So I looked into it and kind of went through the same thing he did, and yeah, that's kind of how it panned out. Kind of talking to him and his experiences. So
obviously, I can imagine coming out of an academy, you had lots of offers on the table. What was it about Oregon State that stood out?
Honestly, it was the coach really, like getting to know him and his assistant. Like, they came to like the trials and they watched, and I had some good offers and a lot of interest from a lot of D1 schools and stuff. And obviously, like full scholarship is like it's huge anyway. But he came over and he kind of like met my family and kind of would watch me come play non-league, and we'd have discussions. And the assistant coach really, Gary Hamill, he was always seeing how I was and seeing my mindset and stuff. So it was just a good relationship kind of that they fostered, and they took an interest in me and my family and that kind of stuff. So
what other factors did you look out for? What other factors would you advise players going down the scholarship route to kind of look out for? Because it's not, I know obviously you went D1, but it's not all about D1, is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think anytime that you can get a significant amount of scholarship covered for a degree or whatever thing that you want to pursue, like it's an excellent opportunity. And I think the facilities, a lot of D2, D3, D1 schools, like they're all great. They're all going to have a lot of backing and the facilities and stuff like that. But I think really when you go, you just it's like it's looking for the right fit. Like how is the coach? Like what are their goals for you? How much of an interest do they take in you as a person? Because like yeah, you're going for football and like they want you to go there to help the program succeed, but you also are going to be taking on another life of you're a student now. You're going to be going to class. It's going to be stressful. You're going to have class, training, class again. Like you're getting adjusted to living alone. So anywhere that like the coaching staff and the program are going to look out for you and kind of really take an interest in, what are your interests off the field? How are you as a person? Kind of things like that help to mold you. Because, like those 4 years in college for me personally, like, I grew up a lot, and it was because of conversations I had with the coach and kind of things I had to learn and just stuff that you would learn like outside of soccer kind of thing. So just those kind of things.
So from playing in an academy to studying and playing in America, how did that differ? Was it a bit of a shell shock?
Yeah, I think, I think back to my times like in the academy and, like just, it would be, you train and that'd be it. You go home, like I'd go to secondary school or sixth form or whatever. And then, that'd be it. I'd go home, I'd go out, whatever it was. It was just really kind of not laissez-faire, but it was very like, it was just half the day was gone. Whereas, going to college, like for my freshman year, it was tough to adjust just because of, when you go, usually the schedule is like, you train or you have weights in the morning, and they tell you when you schedule in your classes, there's a certain block of time that you can't take classes because you have training. So, you'll be training like 8 till about 12, and then you have to go straight from training to class, be in class for about 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is. Then usually finish, and then you'll have some sort of meetings, and then you'll have study hall, you got to do homework, and then by the time you're done your day, it's like 8, 9 o'clock. So it was really learning kind of to balance, like, knowing when to do certain things, knowing when to have fun, because, college is fun. Like, it was a great 4 years. You meet a lot of people, socialize, like, you take in that experience, but it was really learning about the balance of, okay, like, maybe I shouldn't skip class or I shouldn't not do homework or whatever because like it's going to be a tough week or we have a travel and stuff like that. So it was a lot of management skills kind of thing.
It's certainly not easy. Obviously you're going over there. Yeah, I know a lot of coaches and a lot of people talk all the time and mention that you're a student first and an athlete second. So it's certainly not an easy ride going over there, is it? You've got to actually have that balance and that time management.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's like it's weird because like yeah, obviously like I've heard that phrase so many times because I think it is 50-50. Like you are going over there because you're expected to perform as an athlete and they're bringing you into the program to help the program succeed. But at the same time, your student and your academic abilities, like if you don't keep your grades up, you're not going to be able to play, kind of thing. So it is a balance of knowing that, you know, I need to do this and I need to do this because they both kind of work together, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it was a learning adjustment. But you know, by my junior senior year, you know, you kind of get things down and you know, you can fully enjoy the full experience of both academics, kind of student life, and being an athlete. So.
Will, just obviously based on your experiences and all of playing in the pro ranks, what was that experience like of going into the MLS draft after finishing the 4 years, and what came out of it for you?
For me, like, it was an experience, like, you know, obviously it was unique, and kind of waiting to see your name get called and going to the combine and everything like that. I think it was something that I think, you know, the thing that I thought myself, and then obviously, like, I kind of realized, like, you know, I wasn't that high of a draft pick. I wasn't, you know, I was supposed to be a first rounder. I just kind of got in because I think my program did well. We had a good senior year, and, like, I had good performances and stuff. I think going into it, like, you know, if you go to the combine or the draft, or it's just, as long as you get picked up by a team, it doesn't matter if you go number 1 or you go 60th. Like, it's what you do when you get to the camp, once you get in front of people, because I've known plenty of guys that have gone first round that maybe they're still not playing anymore, and I know plenty of guys that have gone after, you know, second, third round, and they've had glorious MLS careers. And I think to not really read too much into that whole, like, oh, am I going to be a first rounder or whatever it was more like, all right, when I get to camp, like, this is when the work starts, because that's when it goes more into, like, that's when it's more similar to, like, the English UK system, where you're a rookie going into a pro locker room. You know, you gotta, you know, take the gear, and you are the one. You don't really have a say in things. You are the one that might be the punching bag for the veteran. Like, that's the kind of thing that you learn, like, going into the draft and stuff. But yeah, I think it's you never get discouraged, because like for me, example, like, when I got drafted, I went to Dallas and I was there for ages, and they didn't pick me up, and then I went on trial at a bunch of teams, never worked out, and, like, I didn't think, you know, I thought it was over, kind of thing for me. And I think, you know, there's always someone that is going to be watching you, and they're going to see your quality. So I think as long as you stay perseverance and you follow it through, and whenever you get an opportunity, whether it's, like, to train, be drafty, like, sign for USL, MLS, like, you know, that's when it counts, is when you're there doing the work in front of the people kind of it matters. So.
And just in regards to obviously going to Europe, I'm sure that was obviously an aspiration for you to get back and play. How did the move to Ireland end up coming about? And then obviously, how did you find the differences in the playing styles?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I was at Reno, and a good friend of mine, Richie Ryan, he was at El Paso, and I was with him at Cincy. And then obviously he's a Sligo Rovers legend and stuff. And, you know, he'd always ask, like, oh, do you want to go back to Ireland? And I'd always want to go back to Europe, be closer to my mom and dad and stuff. And I think that's something that, you know, you kind of learn in the pro game. The longer you are, like, you know, you'll become friends with coaches and ex-players and players, and there's a lot of connections, and, you know, he kind of set that up and facilitated that, and yeah, that's kind of how that came about, and it was good. I enjoyed it. My 2 years in Ireland, I really enjoyed the football. I enjoyed the personality of the league. Like, I think the difference between, like, Ireland and America is you know, in the USL MLS, I think you're going to find 90% of the teams, maybe 100% of the teams, are going to be, you know, that progressive, everyone wants to play out, build from the back, very progressive style football. Whereas, like, in Ireland, you know, you're going to get clubs that don't really care about that, because they just want to win. They're going to do anything to win. And I really enjoyed, like, you know, 1 week it might be a footballing match, but then the next week it might be it's just going to be an absolute dogfight kind of thing. And I enjoyed the kind of differences in the league, and you know, I liked the character and the personality, and the way it was akin to kind of, you know, like League One, League Two style football. Like, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Me and my wife enjoyed it over there. So
fantastic. And just obviously, the company that we're obviously running here, we facilitate a lot with the Irish kids, and look, we see a lot of the U17 League of Ireland, the U19 League of Ireland. But yet again, when I look at the differences of going into playing Division 1 college soccer, there's still a long way to go for these kids. Is there something that you would look at from maybe seeing it firsthand yourself with the younger kids coming through? Maybe you can point to athleticism, you can point the physical side of things, of the adjustments of these kids having to go over to the US and the levels.
Yeah, no, I think you know, that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed is that, especially that was the biggest adjustment for me coming from, like kind of non-league, like conference, like England going over to America, is that just, my first week, I was like, are we like a cross-country team or are we a football team? You know what I mean? Like the amount of running we did, I was like, this cannot be it. It's like, and I think, obviously the way the college game is, with the substitutions and, there's no extra time and, you can sub how much you want. A big emphasis is on athleticism and stuff. But I think more of it is just kind of, I think they try and instill like the professionalism of, taking care of your body, doing your strength and conditioning, like looking after yourself kind of thing. And I think just like that aspect of, yeah, okay, you can point to athleticism, but, you can get bigger and stronger in the gym. You learn that. If you go over there, you're a freshman, you're going to learn that. They're going to teach you all the strength and conditioning aspects and fitness and all that kind of stuff physically wise. But I think as long as you can remain like a good footballer and learn about, basically just teaching to be a pro, like taking care of your body, like doing the right things, like all the strength and conditioning, rolling out, stretching, all that kind of stuff I think is really important because of the physical demands of college soccer at that age. It can be overwhelming, like when you first go there. For me, it was at least. So.
And just in regards to obviously we go on about coaches in the US and all that. I'm sure there's not many guys that have come across coaches like Ollie Hogan in the League of Ireland. Is there many good stories? There will be a lot of people here watching this at some point, and they know stories of Ollie. But what kind of character was he for you? And it seemed like he brought the best out of you in a lot of ways as well.
I don't think there is any manager on earth like Ollie Hogan, to be honest with you. But no, like I said, I really enjoyed playing under Ollie. Like, he's a great manager. Like, he really kind of pushed me and he facilitated me like best as a player. And I think the thing that like and every player is different, but the thing I always react to the best, or is if a manager is just kind of straight up with me, and if I'm doing well, hey, well done, keep it up. And if I'm doing rubbish, like, hey, you're playing rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, just being kind of open and honest. And Ollie is probably that's what he does best. But yeah, no, I think Ollie was an honest man. He was the most genuine person ever, but, obviously he had a bit of fire about him because, you've probably seen him on the sideline, on the touchline for any of the matches, even preseason, but he was a winner as well. So I think, he was really good at pushing players and kind of knowing, like, how to get the best out of him and stuff like that. So I enjoyed my year under him.
Fantastic.
Well, you played summer football over in America with Portland. How did that set you up? Or what did you learn from that going into like taking that into the pro game? Was it a big stepping stone? Yeah, like the PDL. For me, PDL, I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm not really familiar if it's around too much now. I know like with like League 2 and League 1 and like the MLS Next come in and stuff, but PDL was kind of like the precursor to kind of a lot of the stuff that you see in USL and League 1 and stuff like now is like. Because how it worked, it was like, summer, it would come around and all the best PDL teams, Timbers 23s, I think they were the best at the time. You had like Sounders under 23s, and like they would just kind of poach a lot of the guys from all the top programs to come play for a summer, be around kind of like the Timbers organization so they could kind of get like an early look, maybe put them on the draft board, see like, and then they could follow them through their careers. And I mean, for me, I really enjoyed it because like I was there my freshman, sophomore year, and some of the players like that were in that PDL team, and some of like had long MLS careers, like unbelievable players. Like, and I think of like the Sounders playing against the Sounders 23s as well. Like a lot of like DeAndre Yedlin, like Roldan, like a lot of guys that have played in the MLS. Like, so I think that was kind of like it was a good stepping stone to learn. Like, okay, because when we went there, they pushed us really hard, and like a lot of coaches. I don't think they really coach anymore, but yeah, it was kind of like a reserves type thing. Like you were going in, you would watch the first team. They maybe asked like 2 or 3 guys to go there and train with the first team, and yeah, no, it was good. It was a good kind of like transition from like, all right, like all all those guys they had from the college teams going to PDL, they were the best players on their team, and like so it was kind of like a good stepping stone, and also kind of a reality check to go and be like, all right, well, like, if I'm sick for my college team, like, I'm going to the Timbers 23s, and then going there and being like, okay, like, this is what I need to do to get drafted, like, this is what they're demanding of me kind of thing. So, yeah, no, it was good. I really enjoyed PDL, and I'm not sure, I'm actually not familiar with, like, what similar system is around now for that, but... I think there's still two summer leagues, isn't there, Stephen?
Yeah.
USL and MPSL is obviously a big one now as well. So
MPSL, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So, were you quite surprised at the standard when in your first season, or did you fully expect it to be as professional as what you thought?
In college or when I went
The summer league.
at PDL? Yeah, I think it was like it was. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised, but it was a nice like to be in like because obviously you were around the Timbers organization, and I can only speak for the Timbers 23s because they were kind of like the standard for PDL. Um, but just being around like the first team and kind of like you get to watch and you train at the training facility, and then you know just the standard of like we went there and like we had to win the PDL. Anything other than winning PDL, it was kind of like a letdown. I think we made it to the semis one year, but like um, it was just like I think it was kind of like a training camp to foster like these older junior senior college guys who are going to be draft prospects to kind of get them around an environment to understand like this is what's going to be demanded of you, like just because you're sick in college, everybody goes to MLS was the best in college, you know what I mean? So like you're not really, you have to do something different now you're here kind of thing. But no, it was good. I think it was more the environment and kind of like what they wanted out of us kind of as players kind of thing. So
And the experience you've had, obviously you mentioned you've been in non-league, which for me personally, I work for a non-league club as well. I know how physical that is. I know how different the playing styles can be. You've played in academy football here in England, and you've also played in the summer college, and obviously now in the USL Championship. Although you were in the USL Championship before coming to Ireland, how did you feel? How do you feel all those steps have prepared you for your move to New Mexico?
yeah, I mean like every year you kind of learn something. I think as a player, you learn adaptability, kind of how to change, play in different styles, different leagues. Like, I think as a person, you kind of learn, you learn a lot of life lessons of, there's going to be heartache. I've been through years where they've been kind of like pretty crappy years, and you got to learn as a player, like how to deal with that and how to move on. And then obviously, like on the other side, you learn a lot about politics of the game. Kind of, when you're you're a rookie or younger pro, you don't really understand like why certain things happen, et cetera, et cetera. And you kind of learn as you go older. Whereas now I feel pretty experienced in terms of all right, that's this is why this is happening. Like I need to do this. Like I just need to worry about myself, kind of thing. But yeah, as a player, like I think you pick up the best skills of just kind of adapting to like a different league, different style, different coaches, and kind of that's a good quality that a lot of coaches look out for. Is that if you can, they've seen that you've played here or they've seen you played here, like he can kind of do everything. I'm not saying like I'm a world class player. I've played in but it's just like you learn different lessons and skills of a different system or coach or coaching style kind of thing.
How did the move to New Mexico come about?
It was kind of like similar to like the Sligo move, kind of like who my agent knew and kind of this and that and like connections and connections I built up through playing for a good amount of time. It's just kind of like. And also, the biggest factor was, like, I had a really great year with Finn Harps and stuff. So I think it is, like, who and connections and people talk. And I think my year in Harps, like, I tried to just focus on playing really, really well. And whatever happens at the end of the year, then it is, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I think if you focus on just playing well, someone's always watching. And someone's going to be talking. And, like, where sometimes if you're trying to focus on, like, all right, what move is next? Like, you kind of lose sight of, like, how well you have to play to get there kind of thing. So, yeah.
Obviously, we've got, here in the UK and Ireland, we've got the MLS broadcasters, quite a lot of games on a weekend on Sky Sports. You've got the USL Championship live on YouTube, for those that obviously aren't aware of that. Do you feel the American game's grown in Europe?
I think so. Like, I mean, like you said, like I remember when I would come home for off season, like they'd be showing MLS highlights like on Sky and stuff, and I was shocked, like, not because the standard's bad, but because, like, it's just crazy to think that they are showing that in England kind of thing. But, yeah, I think that the U.S. game every year grows, like, exponentially because I think there are a lot of factors of why people want to play in America. Obviously, like, lifestyle, America's a pretty attractive place to live, like, and also I think the amount of, like, investment and money and stuff going into, like, facilities and training facilities and stadiums. I think they really are building a big framework for not only MLS, but like USL now. Like a lot of USL teams have like, massive stadiums, like, 10, 12,000 seaters or whatever. And, they fill them and stuff. So I think it is kind of a thing that every year it is going to get bigger and stuff. And I think it's great because, obviously MLS has always had that kind of connotation of, or America in general, soccer, has had that kind of connotation of, like the standard's not great, and, people go there to retire, and, and that may be true, maybe guys come here to get a big paycheck in the MLS, but, the standard is good. There's a lot of good players here, and, I think you see that now with, like, how many, MLS players get signed by European clubs and how many players from Europe are coming to play in MLS, USL kind of thing, so.
Myself and Stephen's watched. Stephen, you've probably watched a lot of MLS, but a lot of the USLC and USL League One as well, especially New Mexico, because you've got a guy in your roster, Dan Bruce. We followed his story from UNC Charlotte to New Mexico. So how's the welcome been for you with Brucey?
Yeah, no, he's great. What a guy. Like, he's nicest guy. Like, asked, when I was getting here, helped me settle in and stuff, and then he's a good player as well, very good player. Like, he's the fittest man alive, honestly. Like, but never stopped running. But no, it's been great. Like, everyone at the club has been welcome. I knew a few guys from my time in the USL as well. But no, it is a very good club culture, and the club as a whole, like, it's a proper football club, like with staff and kind of like how they look after me and getting me and my family in and stuff. But yeah, no, it's been great, and I think Brucey's been a big part of that as well. So. And
their fans are absolutely crazy as well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I can't wait to experience it. That's what everyone keeps telling me is they get how many fans they get and how good the atmosphere is. But because I never got to play here for Reno, because I think the only time I was coming to play here, I think I was suspended because I got a yellow card suspension or something, so I didn't actually travel.
Just, Will, based on, look, I'm looking at your story, and that's why we have you on this in some ways, because we're trying to get different stories, and you're no different. Daniel Bruce name brought up. I remember watching Daniel play a schools international match for England in Belfast, actually, against Northern Ireland, and the pitch was muck and rain and everything, and now I look at where he's at. Is there anything you can give advice for these kids, at 18 years of age of, they all want their agents, they all want potentially to go play pro, but there's a bigger picture here in what can potentially go down the line. You mentioned network, and I think that's such a big part of it when you go over to the US. Is there something that you can relay back just briefly in regards to, what potentially could be an option for these kids?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's something like, my dad always kind of told me is like, not everyone's path is the same. Like, everyone might have the same end goal of like playing pro soccer, but yeah, some people, you're going to have prodigies that will go and, sign at 18 or play champion, whatever it is, but then everyone has a different path to play, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have a good career. Like, I've been playing like almost 10 years now. Like, I think I've had a pretty good career. I'm not saying like, I haven't won Champions Leagues, I haven't won but I've been able to play soccer and get paid to do it, and like had a good career, and I back myself as a player as well. So like, I think I don't think you should ever kind of snub an opportunity, especially like if you have an opportunity to kind of play soccer professionally or follow it, in America, and also have an opportunity to kind of set up your life outside of it. Like, I think it is like, of course, like, anyone wants the opportunity to go sign pro at a Prem club or championship or whatever. Like, but I think if you can do that, then great. Like, that's the quickest way to your goal. But sometimes, just because something doesn't work out, it might open up another door that you might benefit exponentially from, because not only will you play football, you'll have other skills and opportunities to, once you're done, because your career never lasts forever, that you'll be able to get a job kind of with the degree you've earned kind of thing. So I think like, always treating every opportunity the same, because at one point in your career, you're not going to get an opportunity if you decide to play. You're not going to get that next contract, you're not going to get picked to play, you're not going to get etc. So I think kind of never always taking every opportunity the same kind of thing and treating them all the same.
Perfect. Good stuff.
Awesome, Will. I think that's everything. Stephen, you got anything else to add?
No, look, Will, obviously I really appreciate what you've done here. It's 20-25 minutes, but it does help a lot of younger players here. We're constantly on about a reality check and managing expectations and stuff. But look, you've created a pathway for yourself, and yet again, a lot of it does come down to luck. A lot of it comes down to bumps in the road, and that's what we tell people. So, look, I can tell where you're at, Sunshine, and I know where you are at Finn Harps and all. And, you know, it's a different world, but at the end of the day, we're trying to let kids know that, you know what, go to the US for 4 years, get a degree, get an education, play football. You can always come back and play League of Ireland, and you never know where it can take you. So well done on that, and I wish you all the best, man, as you move along in your career.
I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you've obviously got a game tomorrow as well, haven't you? Pre-season.
Yeah, we play tomorrow. Just kind of friendly, but that'll be. I think that's at 2. So we're just busting. I think we're busting down in the morning or something. But we're friendly tomorrow. I think we have one more after that, and then season starts like at home. I think the 12th of March.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Perfect. Okay, excellent stuff. Well, thanks very much, Will.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. All the best, guys.
Thanks, Will. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.